Welcome! I am so excited that you're here today, and I want to welcome you to this really fun webinar. And this is all training for you. Not only do I have the most amazing guest star, Ms. Liz York. Hey, Liz!
Hey, how are ya?
Good. So we're going to hear from Liz, and we're really talking about what is your personal brand, and then how are you going to monetize it. I'm Tonya Hofmann. I'm the CEO and founder of the Public Speakers Association, and also an executive sapphire with Boundless. And I would love to introduce you to Ms. Liz York. You know, you meet some people, and you're like, oh my gosh, where did this light from heaven come from? And that's what I thought when I met Liz. She just sparkles the room, and everyone, you can just tell that they just gravitate to her and love her. So I know you will too. So everybody, introducing the amazing Ms. Liz York. Liz, why don't you take it from here?
Thank you, Tonya. What a great introduction. I don't know what to do. My hands are sweaty now. So thank you, everyone, for taking some time out this evening to join this webinar. We are recording, so thank you. We're going to discuss branding, and branding is something that is a term that you hear everywhere. What does it mean? What's the true definition of a brand? And I'm going to read that off to you. A brand is a noun, and according to the dictionary here, it says a type of product manufactured by a particular company under a particular name. And also a second definition is an identifying mark burned on livestock. Ouch. That does not sound too good. But that's what they used to do. So a brand is a mark, and a brand is a mark, so to speak. So moving ahead, when you try to capture yourself as a brand, you know, a lot of people out there, when you hear the word, ooh, that's a great brand name, Nike, which is, you think of the image, a logo. How do we take something like that, an image, and create this wonderful, warm feeling about this product or service? So that's what I'm here to discuss. How do we get from that concept to the actual brand itself? So branding isn't just about telling people what you do in a fancy way. There's plenty of people out there that they can just feel off what they do, and they say that's their brand. So how are you going to separate yourself from the herd? That's what we're going to break down. So I read to you what a brand is. Basically, it's your mark, your knowledge, your skills, your expertise, what you are market worthy out there based on your skill set, your talents, or products and services. So what I like to do when people are discussing with me, well, what's my brand? I don't know. Can you help me? I like to break it down into these little tangible concepts and then put it all together to make something very cohesive and simple, and that's your brand. Defining your purpose, number one, is very important. Also, what are your values, your personality, and your value proposition? Basically, how you're going to position yourself in the marketplace as a leader. That's basically what your brand image is. Your brand identity, your definition, your look, your feel, and your sound. This is all what gels together as your brand. And so let's break it down to the point of purpose. So your purpose. Brands often start with when they write down their business, the mission statement. It's easy to define your missions when your purpose and vision are clear. So typically, I tell folks, just get a sheet of paper and write down what your purpose is. And you can have this in a very, like a brainstorm type, and throw some words, and then you can narrow your focus. Because a mission is how you'll advance your purpose and achieve your mission. This is what you do and how you're going to do it. And then we go down into a value, what your values stand at the core of your brand. It's your look or the design of your product or service. It's your message and also your voice, what you're going to sound like, or the products. And also your relationship, the customer service piece. This is all what the value encompasses under your brand. And also personality. This is my favorite part of being in a brand because it's your flavor that attracts people to you. It's who is going to enjoy working with you, your interest, your expertise, what makes you interesting. Your brand is your personality. You present your brand and how you choose to communicate with your clients. This is a very important feature in branding yourself because, there's a dime a dozen people out there that can do the same job, but it's your personality that counts, that makes people want to buy that product or service from you because it's you, it's your uniqueness. And, I want to put a quote out there from Steve Jobs. He's one of my favorite people. And so he said this once: design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. And you can apply this to every industry. It's really the working idea of it. So people don't just come to you just for your services, what they look like, or it's mainly how they feel. Because your service, if you work in a call center, everyone's dialing, everyone's doing the same job. But it's you, how you make that person on the end of the phone feel that they want to buy from you. And that's your brand right there because it's your personality that's coming through. And they want to work with you because it's how you work and how you make them feel when you get that service accomplished. So you want to let that sink in for a moment and think about wow, remember that time when you went to a store and you weren't really looking at that TV or whatever you were buying, and it was just this one person and their personality really made you gravitate toward them, and you ended up buying something from them. Not necessarily probably in your price point, but you just really enjoyed that person's personality. And that's what a brand conveys. It's that feeling, that wonderful feeling inside that you get. And that's basically one of the big features in a brand. And also a value proposition. This is very good because this gives your clients a reason to work with you. It's the reason behind it. What you offer, and what do you offer that no one else offers out there on the market space? How you are unique in very subtle ways, besides your personality. But this is when your expertise shines here because you know your industry and where the errors are in the industry and how you can navigate through those waters. Think about your skills, your passions, your experiences, and how that encompasses in and out of the industry. This all makes together the glue in your uniqueness. And what I like to suggest folks to do is to write this down as well, because there's things that you may have picked up along the way, as we all do in life, that you can put in that makes you that expert, that drives that passion there for you to provide that service, or to go that extra step for these individuals that you are either selling a product to or providing a service for. Once you create your unique proposition, it's critical to your brand. I want to reiterate that, because it's not a brand that people are going to constantly go after. You know, if you're not branding yourself, let me back up. If you're not being a brand, you're being a commodity, and commodities are cheap. You can get them anywhere. You can go to any of these big stores and they have them everywhere. You want to be unique and you want to be specialized. You want to be that subject matter expert in your industry and what you do. And moving forward, that's your uniqueness, that's your brand. So basically, branding is just not telling anyone that you can just do this and that. It's really conveying an image in their head as to what you do and the services that you provide. And, you know, I want to leave off with this little statement. If you want to write it down and fill in the blanks, I think this is very good for folks when they're trying to create their brand. Is if you want to take a pen, I'm going to go really slow for this. My purpose in providing my service or services is to, you want to fill in the blank, because I believe that, fill in the blank. And this is very helpful when you are trying to brainstorm and come up with your brand image. Now, I broke down in a very simple way how to create a brand. Now, how do you monetize this? Now, this is the fun part. It's your network. Your network becomes your net worth, so to speak. And I do air quotes. I'm the queen of talking with my hands. So basically, nowadays, in order to get your products and services out, it's very easy to post on a variety of social media. You have email lists, you have a dial list that you can even call. Marketing automation is fantastic in giving analytical data, these huge lead lists that you can call, that you can go ahead and, you know, dial folks to sell your services, your product, things of that sort. So in the way of utilizing technology to the best of what we have available, that's where you can monetize your brand. You can go online, you can create a website, you can generate leads from there as well. And, you know, social media is a huge asset to us in this day and age because it's free, number one. And number two, you team up with folks and their networks. And then that's how your brand gets pushed out. Tonight, pushing out for the last 2 weeks that myself and Tonya, we are going to speak about this particular branding and how to monetize it. We were pushing it out on our network, and whoever joined in and pushed it out on their network, and then it goes on and on and on. Just to utilize the concept of Facebook, that's basically what we're doing here. Your brand can go out and it hits this group of people and their groups of people, and it goes on and on and on. And that's the beauty of creating a brand and using a network to push it out. And word of mouth is always the best way. You don't have to go ahead and, like back in the day, get a billboard or Yellow Pages ads. I don't know if any of y'all remember those, the Yellow Book, putting those ads in there to market yourself. It's so easy nowadays to market your product and service, and it's you get a wider audience. You get a global footprint, which is fantastic. How many people here know someone out of state, out of country? Um, it, we all know somebody that's not in our little community right next door or down the street. And even if you know everyone in your little neighborhood, they know people outside of it, and it goes on and on and on. So that is very helpful in getting your message out, getting your brand out there. And I can go on and on about this, but I don't want to take up too much time. But I do want to bring on Tonya so she can give some more input, because she travels and she knows a ton of people globally, and she can impress upon you the expansion of your brand on a global platform. Tonya?
Hey, everybody. Wasn't she a fabulous? Oh, my goodness. You know, and that's what I love. Liz lives her brand. You know, when she walks into the room, everyone knows who she is and what she stands for. And that's kind of where you have to look at for yourself, is how can you, when you walk into a room, kind of amplify who you are. So that if someone was to say something about you, would it represent what you are trying to get across? That's when you know your brand is just spot on. When you walk in and you're the living embodiment of yourself. And I know that sounds weird because you're like, well, who else am I going to be? Oh my gosh, everyone tries to be somebody else. They're like, oh, I'm going to be more like Tonya, or more like Liz, or more like, you know, fill in the blank. And I'm like, just be yourself. And as soon as you own who you are, and you really take on that incredible value proposition that you have for yourself, you will just explode. Because it happened to me. You know, I was always trying to be a little bit more better and more perfect and more this and more that, and make it. And I was like, oh, I was so exhausted, for one thing. And then as soon as I like shook all that off, and I was like, all right, just if you want Tonya, here she is. If not, fine. So that is like massive. Now, let's take it up even a notch. Because a lot of times when you meet with people, you're not allowing them to own their own brand either. And this is huge. Because when you're meeting somebody, if you're trying to have them put on a suit of armor that's you, right? They can't wear your suit, because that would be kind of gross. But anyways, you have to let them be who they want to be. So what's important to them? What is their value proposition? So two things come from that. When I meet with somebody, I first allow them to tell me who they are. I'm wanting to know what their brand is. What's important to them? What's important in their life? What are they struggling with? What do they want more of? What do they want less of? Let them talk and talk and talk and talk. Because at the exact same time, I'm also trying to decide, are they the brand of people I want in my network? Right? We're part of the group Boundless, right? Which is a network marketing company that is brilliant. It's just taking off. It's important that I create the group that I want to be around. Because I see it all the time. People suddenly surround themselves with people. That person might have like, ooh, I got that person. But they don't even like that person. They're just doing it monetarily. They're just doing it because it's a transaction. And now they're stuck with them. Don't have that happen to you. Instead, create a group of people that attract to you, that fit you. Because now you've got a group that is your brand. You've got a team that is branded in the same unison voice. So when you sing, it's in harmony. So really look at it when you're talking to somebody. Allow them to be them. Don't try to force them into a peg that's not them. And then, are they fitting into your peg as well? Don't force somebody in, because then you're always going to have to force them to do something all the time. I know that you know what I'm talking about. There are people that we are like, oh, if they would just fit in my tag hole, they just won't. You're kind of stamping on them all the time. And sometimes they'll kind of start squeezing and you're like, ooh, it's happening. And then they pop back out because, you know, at some point they just don't fit. Allow yourself to grow who you are, allow others, and then what happens? You show people you're a leader. You have to take on a leadership role. In order to take on a leadership role, it also requires you to develop leaders as well. And what does that mean? That just means that those other people are also developing their own teams, their own branding, their own branded team. And that's when you know you've done a good job. That's when you know you've taken that next step. If it's always about you, it will always have to surround you. You've got to gift people the opportunity to stand up, to smile, and to own their brand. And that's so incredibly important. So when you meet somebody, don't look at them like Liz was saying, she's so right. If you look at someone as a commodity, if you're always going with no brand, you are just a commodity. You are just a card pusher, business card. You are just a product shover. Here, try this makeup. It's great. This skincare is going to be great. Oh, try this chocolate. Yeah. People are like, get away. And you may attract a couple flies, shoe fly, right? So really look at how are you going to develop this so that you're developing the right people to you because they want to be with you. They're part of your team. They feel like a sister or a brother. They are part of you because they're an extension of you. Each one of you has an incredible brand. Just emphasize that brand. I mean, if you think about, just even, like, reality TV, right? They are figured out who is it that's the brand for that show. You are a show. You show up and you already have a statement. So just attract those people. Why was it attractive for you? Find out if it's the same for them. Because when you have that same frequency, it explodes because they get you and you get them and you're like, zing, right? And you're like talking the same language and everything. The other day, my husband, incredible Michael, who has been in ITIS services forever, had a great conversation with a guy. They were laughing and joking and cracking up because they got each other. They were in sync. They would have been really awesome teammates. So the more you can align yourself with the same frequency, the same branding, the better it is for you. And then when that person goes off and they start their own team, they may attract somebody that doesn't have the same frequency. And you're like, bing, 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 and you're like trying to make it all work and it just doesn't. But that's their group. Let them resonate with their own group. Build teams. No matter what kind of business you're in, you're all part of a team. And if you're out there all by yourself doing everything yourself, let's have a talk. All right. I mean, Liz is amazing. Whoever invited you to this call today, or just, get in touch with one of us. We would love to help you take up that next step and get connected with yourself, with the right frequency people, partners, and then really go out and change lives. Make a difference for yourself first, right? Because you got to be that plop. A lot of times we talk about the ripples, but it takes a plop to get it going. So plop yourself in, start that ripple effect, right? And then you're changing your family and the trajectory that they have on this planet. You got children, Hopefully they're young and you still moldable. If they're older, okay. So ripple, how can you really change the trajectory of your family, then your friends, and then your acquaintances, and then you never know where that ripple is going to go across this world of ours. You just never know how you can be the catalyst that started the huge monsoon waves, the typhoon waves that's going to engulf so many people. You each have a frequency, and there's people out there, believe it or not, that are on that same frequency, no matter how weird you are. And they're just trying to find somebody too that they can relate to. So become more relatable. Be yourself, own yourself, be okay with yourself, and go out there and really go out and change some lives. So thank you for watching today. Rewatch this and get connected.